Ancient steps, concealed for over 2,000 years, have finally been revealed at the renowned Siloam Pool in Jerusalem. TV's William Charon brings us the latest on this significant archaeological find. This location holds deep historical significance, believed to be where Jesus performed a miraculous healing, as described in the Bible. Meanwhile, amidst Israel's ongoing judicial reforms, they face formidable challenges from alliances formed by Russia, Iran, Turkey, and other states. Ancient steps, concealed for over 2,000 years, have finally been revealed at the renowned Siloam Pool in Jerusalem. TV's William Charon brings us the latest on this significant archaeological find. This location holds deep historical significance, believed to be where Jesus performed a miraculous healing, as described in the Bible. Meanwhile, amidst Israel's ongoing judicial reforms, they face formidable challenges from alliances formed by Russia, Iran, Turkey, and other states. Ancient steps, concealed for over 2,000 years, have finally been revealed at the renowned Siloam Pool in Jerusalem. TV's William Charon brings us the latest on this significant archaeological find. This location holds deep historical significance, believed to be where Jesus performed a miraculous healing, as described in the Bible. However, in the midst of all these, atheists have stumbled upon mysteries about Jerusalem's past, involving the captivating Pool of Siloam that is about to shake the world. So what do these atheists have under their sleeves, and what does it mean for the world? Let's find out. Jerusalem is the religious and historical epicenter of the world. It is a surreal and vibrant city, holy to Jews, Muslims, and Christians, over 1/3 of all the people on the earth. For Christians, the city is significant because it was the location of Jesus' Last Supper, his arrest, trial, and crucifixion, his nearby burial, his resurrection and post-resurrection appearances, and his ascension and promise to return. Being one of the oldest cities in history, it is said to also be the most contested. According to historian Eric H. Klein, the city has been destroyed at least twice, besieged 23 times, attacked an additional 52 times, and captured and recaptured 44 times. For 2 decades after the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, tensions remained between Israel and its Arab neighbors. In May 1967, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria began mobilizing their military forces. It initiated a naval blockade of Israeli shipping and seaports. Israel responded by preemptively attacking Egyptian airfields and destroying 90% of Egypt's air force. In the first 3 days of the war, Israel managed to capture the Gaza Strip, the Suez Canal, and the Sinai Peninsula. Although Israel had asked Jordan to remain neutral in the city of Jerusalem, the Jordanians began to attack West Jerusalem. On June 7th, Israel captured all of Jerusalem and accepted a ceasefire with Jordan. Since then, Israel has controlled the entire city. Muslims in Israel have full access to their holy sites, though Palestinians in the West Bank have restricted access into the city. This historical contention explains the recent strife between Israel, Russia, Turkey, and other states. However, discoveries of intriguing historical sites are still underway, as atheists recently discovered life-changing mysteries about this great city, including the Pool of Siloam. I am currently at the Pool of Siloam, where Jesus healed a blind man. So I'm just going to show you. You can read about it in John chapter 9. Stick around as we explore this fascinating discovery, but before that, let's explore the intriguing background of the Pool of Siloam. So what is this Pool of Siloam, and what's its significance? The Pool of Siloam holds a significant place in biblical history, and its story is woven into the fabric of faith and miracles. In the Gospel of John chapter 9, we find a compelling narrative that unfolds around this ancient pool. Siloam is a rock pool located about 700 yards, 640 meters, south of and down the hill from the Wailing Wall, the western facade of the foundation on which King Herod built the Second Temple of Jerusalem. The Pool of Siloam was built in the 8th century BC by King Hezekiah of Judah to secure Jerusalem's water supply and deny water to the Assyrian king Sennacherib's approaching army that was about to lay siege to Jerusalem. Fresh water was sent to the Pool of Siloam from its source, Gihon Spring, via an underground aqueduct, now called Hezekiah's Tunnel, that King Hezekiah also ordered dug. Several rabbinic traditions identified the Pool of Siloam as the Messiah's pool. It was the only source of fresh water within the walls of ancient Jerusalem. The pool was fed by a tunnel Hezekiah cut through almost 2,000 feet of solid rock from the Gihon Spring, also called the Virgin Spring. The spring, which produced a water flow about twice daily, was located on the east side of Jerusalem, outside the wall, and on a slope leading down to the Kidron Valley. Hezekiah's tunnel channeled the water from Gihon to the pool, located in the southeast part of the city in the Tyropoeon Valley. The original Pool of Siloam was about 53 feet long, 18 feet wide, and 19 feet deep, and was made of part hewn rock and part masonry. Jerusalem and the Pool of Siloam were destroyed by the Babylonians about 600 BC. 70 years later, Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. Part of the job was to repair the Pool of Siloam. Shallun, son of Kol-Hoseh, ruler of the district of Mizpah, also repaired the wall of the Pool of Siloam by the king's garden, as far as the steps going down from the city of David in Nehemiah 3 verse 15. Let's look at the wonders of the pool in John chapter 9. The story begins with a man who was blind from birth. As Jesus and his disciples passed by, the disciples asked a question echoing the common belief of the time, whether the man's blindness resulted from his sin or that of his parents. Jesus, however, challenged this notion and declared that man's condition was an opportunity for God's work to be demonstrated. To perform this divine work, Jesus spat on the ground and made a mud mixture, which he applied to the blind man's eyes. He then instructed the man to wash in the Siloam pool. The blind man, without questioning, obeyed the command and went. Something miraculous happened as he washed in the pool. His sight was restored. This event, however, stirred curiosity in the neighborhood's people as they were accustomed to seeing the blind man begging. Still, now they were witnessing a transformation that defied explanation. Some were skeptical and questioned whether this was the same man who had been blind all his life. Consequently, as the news spread, the Pharisees, the religious authorities of the time, became involved. They interrogated the man, trying to discredit the miracle by questioning Jesus' authority and method. The man, now able to see, stood his ground and asserted that Jesus must be from God to perform such a remarkable healing. The Pharisees, however, were divided in their response. Some dismissed Jesus, while others were open to the possibility that he was a prophet. The tension escalated, leading to the man's parents being brought in for questioning. Fearing retribution from the religious leaders, they confirmed that the blind man was their son, but refrained from providing details about how he gained his sight. The controversy continued as the Pharisees interrogated the man once more. Frustrated with his unwavering belief in Jesus, they cast him out of the synagogue. However, Jesus sought out the man healed and revealed himself as the Son of God. One of the core lessons of this story is that it is not just about physical healing, it's a narrative of spiritual insight. The Pool of Siloam symbolizes obedience and faith. The blind man's washing in the pool reflects a simple yet profound act of trust in the words of Jesus. The pool becomes a symbolic space where the miraculous meets the obedient heart. As we reflect on the story of the Pool of Siloam, we are reminded that miracles can happen in the most unexpected places. It challenges us to approach our trials with faith and obedience, trusting that God can work wonders despite adversity. The Pool of Siloam, with its echoes of obedience, healing, and revelation, continues to inspire believers today. Significantly, the healing of the blind man in the Pool of Siloam is reminiscent of another healing story found in Scripture, the healing of Naaman. We read about Naaman in 2 Kings 5. Naaman was the commander of Aram's army and therefore an enemy of Israel. To the Israelites of the day, he was understood to be cut off from divine grace, undeserving of God's healing presence. His leprosy would have been viewed as divine judgment. Yet when he is told that the prophet Elisha will be able to cure his leprosy, Naaman journeys to the prophet, hoping to procure his healing. Naaman attempts to purchase his healing with a payment of 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing, according to 2 Kings 5. Elisha's message to the commander of Aram, however, is simple and straightforward. Go wash yourself 7 times in Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed. Nothing Naaman brings will warrant his healing. Naaman, however, initially rejects this request out of disdain for the waters of the Jordan, when he said, "Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel?" Naaman cannot believe that such ordinary water could provide divine healing. This is where the plot twist is. The account of Naaman's healing testifies to the greatness of God. God's greatness and mercy extend over all, even to those whom one may consider unworthy, such as the commander of a foreign army or a man born blind. Jesus testifies to this when he says in Luke chapter 4 verse 27 that there were many in Israel with leprosy in the time of Elisha the prophet, yet not one of them was cleansed, only Naaman the Syrian. By dipping himself in the waters of the Jordan, Naaman's healing is attributed not to the waters themselves, but to the glory of the God of Israel. Naaman returns to Elisha and says, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except Israel, but that's not all." The two stories have much in common. Like Naaman, the healing of the blind man begins with a question of his sinfulness. The disciples asked Jesus if the blind man sinned or if his blindness resulted from his parents' sinfulness. Consequently, in the ancient world, physical infirmity, particularly those stemming from birth, was thought to be the result of one's sinful nature. Bad things happen to bad people, so it was believed. The man's blindness would have been understood as equivalent to divine punishment. The discussion taken up by the Pharisees and teachers of the law following the man's healing shows the prevalence of this belief. The blind man was simply beyond healing and redemption. Similarly, the man's healing cannot be attributed to the pool. Just as Naaman could point to the waters of Damascus as better than the Jordan, so too could the blind man point to the waters of Bethesda as better for healing than the pool of Siloam. In many ways, descending into the pool of Siloam to be healed made no earthly sense. Everything about the blind man's healing in the pool of Siloam points beyond itself. Contrary to what some believe, Jesus goes out of his way to choose the pool with no healing association. This pool would be considered ordinary and regular. When Jesus heals the blind man, he does so in a way that showcases his power to heal. Healing cannot be attributed to personal righteousness, a special location, or a mystical water supply, as healing comes from the gracious presence of Jesus. The healing at the pool of Siloam helps us today recognize the true place of healing in our own lives. We need not go to special locations or immerse ourselves in unique waters, nor do we need to work towards some level of religious righteousness. Healing flows out of the loving heart of Jesus. As in the days of Scripture, healing today occurs in different ways. It may work via physical touch, a spoken word, or a dip in a pool. We may extend this to say that healing may occur through medicines or the activity of doctors, nurses, surgeons, and research workers. Yet just as the words of Jesus lie behind the healing in the pool of Siloam, Jesus' presence lies behind all instances of healing. However, archaeologists are not relenting in excavating the pool amidst this fascinating story of healing associated with the pool. As they dig for further mysteries about the pool, they are met with more mind-blowing discoveries about this intriguing pool. So what shocking discoveries did they come up with about the pool of Siloam, and what does it mean to the world? According to the Biblical Archaeology Society, the excavation project in the ancient city first began in 2004 when a large water pipe burst in the city of David, an area south of Jerusalem's Temple Mount. Since then, the dig has been ongoing. However, the Israel Antiquities Authority, IAA, recently announced their goal of a full excavation of the ancient pool of Siloam that will eventually be open to the public. The work is being carried out by the IAA, the Israel National Parks Authority, and the City of David Foundation, which works to preserve and develop Jerusalem by connecting people of different faiths and backgrounds. Only the northern side and a small part of the eastern side are exposed. The Pool of Siloam excavation project is located within the Jerusalem Walls National Park. It will be sponsored by the City of David Foundation, an organization supporting education, tourism, archaeological excursions, and land purchases in East Jerusalem to establish a Jewish presence in an area mainly occupied by Palestinians today. A walkway was found on the pool's north side, paved with well-cut and precisely dressed limestone slabs. The quality of stonework resembled that of the first-century paved street along the western wall of the Temple Mount. After digging through 13 to 16 feet of mud and silt, archaeologists determined that the steps were part of a monumental stepped trapezoidal pool, some 180 x 164 feet in size. The ancient walkway ascends from the Pool of Siloam, near the southern edge of the City of David, up to the western wall, near the top of the Temple Mount. Millions of Jewish people and other visitors took the Pilgrim's Road on their way up to the temple in the 1st century AD. Most of these pilgrims came in obedience to the command to gather for the worship of Israel's God at this central religious center during the 3 high holidays of the Jewish year. Passover in the spring, Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, or First Fruits or Pentecost, 50 days later, and Sukkot, the Festival of Booths or Feast of Tabernacles, in the fall. During the 3 pilgrimage festivals, every able Jewish male was required to trek to the temple, where sacrifices were offered. According to archaeologists, the impressive broad roadway with large 25-foot wide stone paving slabs was the main route leading from the Pool of Siloam, where worshippers would ritually wash before going up the 700-yard climb to the temple. The first excavations of the road began at the pool, and as the dig continued uphill, workers were forced to burrow underground beneath the busy Siloam neighborhood above to reveal the buried stairway. The discovery of the pilgrimage road is an unprecedented scientific feat. Interestingly, a set of 8 more steps has been unearthed descending into the pool, which was about the size of 2 Olympic swimming pools and was used by millions of Jewish pilgrims as a ritual bath or mikveh before entering the temple. Excitement grew over the summer as the site underwent extensive excavations and new stairs began emerging. The spectacular and captivating story of the Pool of Siloam has incited interest in people to know more about the miraculous events and working of Jesus in the scriptures. This brings to mind another fascinating story of the healing miracle of Jesus associated with another intriguing pool, the Pool of Bethesda. So what was the experience of the Pool of Bethesda, and what does it mean to Christians? In the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the Gospel of John chapter 5, the Pool of Bethesda reveals the tale of the healing, faith, and compassion of Jesus. Near the Sheep Gate, Jerusalem had a pool with 5 covered colonnades called Bethesda. This pool had gained fame for its healing properties. The belief among the people was that an angel would occasionally stir the waters, and the first person to enter the pool after this movement would be healed. One day Jesus visited Jerusalem and came across this pool. Near the pool, there lay a multitude of people who were sick, blind, lame, or paralyzed. Among them was a man who had been in a disabled condition for an astonishing 38 years. Imagine the depth of suffering and despair he must have felt. Upon seeing the man, Jesus asked a simple yet profound question: "Do you want to be healed?" The man replied, explaining his inability to reach the pool whenever the water was stirred. It seemed like an impossible challenge for him, so instead of directing the man to the pool, Jesus uttered words that changed everything. "Get up, take your mat, and walk." Miraculously, the man bound by infirmity for nearly 4 decades obeyed Jesus' command, stood up, took his mat, and walked. This miraculous healing didn't go unnoticed, as the day it happened was a Sabbath and the Jewish leaders, strict in their observance of Sabbath laws, confronted the healed man for carrying his mat. He explained that he was only following the command of the man who had healed him, but he didn't know it was Jesus. Later, Jesus found the healed man in the temple and advised him to sin no more, cautioning against a worse thing happening to him. This encounter with the Jewish leaders intensified their opposition to Jesus because he not only healed on the Sabbath, but also called God his Father, making himself equal to God. So, the Pool of Bethesda story summarizes several layers of significance. It's not just a tale of physical healing, but a narrative that delves into the spiritual condition of humanity. The man by the pool represents all of mankind spiritually paralyzed and in need of God's healing touch. As we draw nearer to the end of this video, it is important to note that the Pool of Siloam is not merely a historical site. It's a place where the ordinary intersects with the divine. It invites us to consider our obedience and faith in facing challenges. In this narrative, the pool becomes a channel for a deeper understanding of God's power and grace. We've come to the end of this video. What do you think about the intriguing Pool of Siloam? Share your thoughts with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.